everybody. Welcome to Paratruth Radio. My name is Justin.
And I'm Eric.
And we are broadcasting live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, it's changed to Daylight Savings Time. Never mind. Tonight, Eric is in Ohio, so we have him on cell phone. So if you guys have any problems hearing him, just let us know, and we can have him speak up or change positions or whatever. If you guys want to check out what's that?
Real quick, I'm going to just cut you off there real quick. Also, if anyone hears any echoing either from me or Justin, let me know, because sometimes I have my phone on speaker right now, and I know sometimes you might get feedback of your own voice, Justin, when that happens. So let me know too, or any listeners let Justin know, because I don't have any access to our homepage or anything right now, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, usually when I'm getting feedback is when you have to call in and you're logged in as well, so we should be all right. But
all right.
Also, too, folks, if you guys want to check out, we do have our Paratruth Radio website up. It's just paratruthradio.com. We will be starting to broadcast live from there here in the next couple weeks. We're going to be doing some run-throughs here and get ready for that. Also, you can also find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. Same old thing, just /Paratruth Radio. On Twitter, it's capital PARA, capital TRUTH, capital RADIO. And then you can also jump in our chat room if you are listening live on a computer. You can also call in 914-205-5558 to give us your opinions or any info you might have on any of our topics. Tonight, we are going to be talking about shadow people. Now, for those of you that don't know what shadow people are, it's pretty much linked to the paranormal investigation specifically. I know Ghost Hunters has caught shadow people. Paranormal State has caught shadow people. Help me out here. Have other ones caught shadow people?
I have.
Have you?
Well, I mean, that's going to rabbit trail a little bit, possibly.
What else is new with us?
Yeah, seriously. There's Destination Truth. There's a show, that show, Destination Truth. Some of you out there know it. I don't think it's on anymore. That was the host of that show was Josh Gates.
He's got a different show now, I think.
Yeah. So they've caught shadow people, and that pretty much covers everything. I mean, you named everything else. In regards to capturing, like, in our own personal experiences, I don't think you and I have ever captured a shadow person, but I know you and I have both witnessed them. On investigations in particular. I know you've seen them in
we had to debunk that one that was in that business building, too, that wasn't a shadow person. We ended up figuring out it was a tree in somebody's office.
Oh, yep. Yeah, there's that one. And then also we had the shadow person at Ghost Alley over in Akron,
right.
The Akron area. That one was an interesting one. That was in the basement, which is pretty much a kitchen, a very large kitchen and storage unit, as well as a cellar, which was pretty creepy. And that was probably one of the more interesting shadow people cases, because I remember there's a group of us walking down one side of the hall, not the hall, but the room, because the room was split down the center by a bunch of boxes. So we were walking down one side of the room, and then on the other side, we all, or at least most of us, noticed a shadow figure dart across the boxes, the opposite direction. I know that you and I chased it down, and a couple others were looking too. we met on either side in case, there were people over there, and of course we found nothing. So, and then of course we have our own regular personal experiences, such as that I've already expressed numerous times on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what the definition, which is on Wikipedia and also a wiki on another website called Creepypasta, the definition of shadow people is they're also known as shadow figure, shadow being, or black mass. The perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure, particularly as interpreted by believers in the supernatural as the presence of a malevolent entity. Apparently, I mean, and some of these I've heard of before. It goes back to legends. It says a number of religions, legends, and belief systems describe shadowy spiritual beings or supernatural entities such as shades of the underworld, and various shadowy creatures have long been a staple of folklore and ghost stories. Several physiological and psychological conditions can account for reported experiences of shadow people. These include sleep paralysis, illusions, hallucinations brought on by physiological or psychological circumstances, drug use or side effects of medication, and the interaction of external agents on the human body. Another reason that could be behind the illusion is sleep deprivation, which may lead to hallucinations.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some theory behind, like scientific theory behind what shadow people are.
Right.
I highly doubt that, and our audiences know you and I are nuts, but I don't think the shadow people that we saw were figments of our imagination.
Right.
As well as, I mean, there was one, I'm almost positive it was on Ghost Hunters, which was at the Pennsylvania Penitentiary, I believe it was, where actually I and Wendy and Tim and my mom and Robin, Rayanne, we all went to this place where I'm pretty sure it was Ghost Hunters caught a shadow person, and you can, I mean, and it can be hosts, obviously, but you see a figure like poke back in from a doorway, and I mean, it's deliberate. You can tell that it's deliberately looking out at the people.
Right.
Was it hoaxed? Possibly. I mean, both Eric and I have both said that, Ghost Hunters is a TV show. They have ratings. So are they going to fake stuff? More than likely, because just like every investigation him and I did, more times than not, we were just sitting in the dark talking to ourselves. Mm-hmm. There was no activity going on. We were using a recorder, which means we can't hear any responses if there are any. Doing pictures, you will see something on the smaller screen of a digital camera or a cell phone or whatever, but until you blow it up and see what that actually is, you can't just say, oh my God, there's a shadow person there. To get into a little bit of the Christian side and even your own personal opinion, what do you think about shadow people?
Well, I mean, I'm on both sides. I believe that, shadow people or shadow figures, if you will, are real. Also, though, I think they can be created by the mind. I think if you fear, I don't know about you, but there's been times where I've been nervous or scared in the past, and maybe you're worried of seeing a shadow person, or you're looking for that slight movement in the dark, and then suddenly you see it. And I think there's times like that where the brain almost, or basically does, cause you to see these figures and they're not really there. And I think a lot of the time shadow figures can be debunked, especially when you're in rural, not rural, but like city areas and stuff like that, because there's so many lights, so many cars driving by. I know there's been a number of mistaken identity of shadow people that ended up being caused by a car driving by. And it just seems as if the shadow is walking across the room or across the wall, or dancing or whatever. But like I said, on the other hand, I do believe they're real. I mean, I've witnessed them myself. The majority of shadow people that are seen, whether they're – now, of course, a lot of them, or quite a few, have been caught on camera via the big names in ghost hunting and the paranormal community that are on TV, but also a lot of smaller groups as well have laid claim to finding such things on their cameras. But when we see it, when we're hunting and doing investigations, typically we see them up the peripheral of our vision, of our eyes. And that's because our eyes or the corner of our eyes are infrared. So we see things in an infrared type of state as opposed to the way we would see, like, looking straight on, which is why the shadows become a little more predominant from the corner of your eye as opposed to looking straight on. But I have come across, in my own experiences, shadows that I have seen straight on, as clear as I would be looking at the sun. And it's those instances that really, when you see them at the corner of your eye, you can question whether or not you just saw what you think you saw, and you'll look and, of course, nothing's there. But when you see it dead on, as if you're looking straight at something, then there's no question anymore. It's pretty obvious. And, of course, there's going to be people out there who don't believe you because it does sound crazy. I see dead people type thing. And that's, of course, if you believe in dead people. But on that note, in regards to the Christian aspect, shadow people, there's a story or a woman who was on a radio show called Coast to Coast AM, and that's a late night radio talk show. And she often talked about shadow people. Her name was Heidi Hollis, and she published a book in 2001. And in 2002, April 7th, 2002, on Coast to Coast AM, she was invited to be a regular guest, and she was able to discuss her views and her research on shadow people. And one of the things, I'm going to quote this, one of the things she says is that she describes them as dark silhouettes with human shapes and profiles that flicker in and out of peripheral vision, and claimed that people had reported the figures attempting to jump on their chest and choke them. However, she believes they can be repelled by invoking the name of Jesus, which is very important there and very interesting to me. I don't know if this particular woman's a Christian or not. I have no clue. But the fact that she comes forth to say that she believes that these entities can be repelled by invoking the name of Jesus, calling on Jesus and saying, in the name of Jesus, I cast you out, or something like that, and to that extent.
Right.
But she doesn't really mention any other way of getting rid of them. That's very interesting to me, because I know a lot of, especially those in the occult or spiritists, mediums, they'll claim there's other ways to get rid of them. Which, those of you who know me, I'll be honest, I think it's a bunch of gibberish. But this woman comes forth and says, in the name of Christ, they can leave. They leave. And the one thing that's interesting, there's a lot of different views on the research. And like dark silhouettes, or these shadow people, are very, very, very rarely ever take shape or ever take full form as like a humanoid figure. They don't have when you see them, you're not going to see like the head and both arms, both legs and feet,
right,
and details and that. Usually, these shadow people are a little disoriented. So maybe they have one arm and two legs, or maybe they have no legs, or maybe they have, their head is missing, or something's missing. There's all these different things missing. And in
sometimes, it's just one big blob. It's not anything distinguishable except for maybe a head, because it's not separate from the body, but it narrows into a head-like image.
Right. It's just a black mass, simple as that. And I think that's interesting because if human spirits really did exist, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends, but I would imagine that you would see more detail, where like an evil spirit is purposely going to distort its figure anyway. Because we know, I mean, it depends what your belief is in demons. I believe that all demons are fallen angels. And fallen angels still have power. They're capable. You see in the Bible where angels come forth and they appear in full figure, clear as day. So to think that they couldn't do that as fallen angels, I think would be a bit of a mistake on our part. I think they're very capable. They purposely distort themselves for whatever reason, perhaps to have us come up with other, I guess, ideas as to what they could be, such as
for a lot of like demonic type. That's what I'm looking for. Not hauntings, but like demonic oppression and that sort of thing. It's more a scare factor. I mean, if you're seeing shadows out of the corner of your eye, the first thing you're going to do is your fight or flight's going to kick on. Your adrenaline's going to start pumping, and you're like, "What the hell is that?"
Right.
And as you said, that not that it's in the Bible or anything, but that's probably something they quote unquote feed off of.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And like that whole, and just in regards to like the mind playing tricks too. I mean, that plays a big role as well. In some of this, most shadow people I think aren't going to be demonic entities. I think a lot of it is just going to be mistaken identity. Like you just happen to be seeing something.
Right.
A prime example of that, and you'll enjoy this. On my way home today from Virginia, I was in West Virginia, and I was traveling along the side of the road on the highway, and there was a figure off to the right, just off the highway, by a bunch of trees. And the very first thought that I had when I had seen it, and I had just, quickly glanced over and saw it out the corner of my eye, I had to double take and actually watch it for a little while. And two things happened. This first one, though, I thought that it could have been a Bigfoot. I really did. And I had to take a double look, and just check, like, wait a second.
Right,
that couldn't possibly be true. And, of course, it wasn't true. It was a tree. But on first glance, your mind automatically jumps to something that maybe you're curious about. And let's face it, you and I talk about Bigfoot a lot. And so, if I'm going to see something in the mountains, in the Appalachian Mountains especially, where Bigfoot is considered to be or known to be, that's where my mind's going to jump. But it's just one example of my mind or my eyes, if you will, playing a trick on me. I thought I saw something that wasn't really there to begin with. Also, when I got into Ohio, I was driving and I saw a weird flash coming through the trees ahead of me, and I stayed focused. I know I should have been focused on the road, but I didn't. There weren't a lot of cars around, so I just stayed focused on that spot where I saw the flashing light, in hopes that when I got closer, I could find out what it was. But when I got in closer, there was nothing there. It was just snow and trees. That's it. There's no metal, no metallic objects. There were no people. There's nothing. So it's like, again, is it just something was it possibly that my eyes are just playing a trick on me, or maybe it was some kind of illusion from the sun shining down on that part of the snow? I don't know, but it was really bright, almost as if someone was using a reflector or something. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think with shadow people, a lot of it is in our mind, or just the trick of the eyes and the trick of the light and so on and so forth. And I think that's why a lot of us are not only curious in it, but go out of our way to try and debunk it, or so many investigators try to debunk it.
Right.
But yeah, I think if a shadow person does show up, or you do see a shadow of some sort of black mass, I do think 100 times out of 100 that it's going to be something, a dark entity, basically. And you guys can take it as you want, but when I say dark entity, I'm, obviously assuming demonic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have a random fact today?
Did
you want to do a live one?
I can do a live one on the second commercial break.
Okay.
Because I don't have one right now, but on our commercial break I could find one real quick. So.
All right, I can do the paranormal headlines, and then we'll just kind of switch it up where we do the random fact the second half. Cool. All right, well, and I do have a couple of theories that are way out in left field, and you guys can take them as is, but I will mention those after the first break here. We're going to play a quick commercial, and I'll give you guys your paranormal headlines live for the first time ever, so please don't shoot me. And we will be right back.
Hey guys, let's play some video games.
This new dad plays video games with his sons, but the challenge feels like he's lifting a metric ton.
So many buttons.
His avatar just stares at the walls, twists and turns and somehow falls.
Help me!
He's tangled up in the controller's cord.
I just don't understand this crazy digital world.
Crazy, crazy digital world. Heroes and world. But the love from his kids is totally apparent. Ooh. See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
You should have just played catch.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, sublimely elegant here as always, and you are listening to Paratruth Radio.
And now, Paratruth Radio's Paranormal Headlines.
Justin here with your paranormal headlines. DNA analysis claims ancient elongated Peruvian skulls are not human. This is an article from MoviePilot.com. Ever since their discovery by Julio Tello in 1928, the bizarre Paracas skulls have amazed and terrified in equal measure. Uncovered in a tomb in South Peru and believed to be around 3,000 years old, the skulls featured strange elongated craniums, which gives them a decidedly inhuman appearance. The traditional logic dictates that the skulls were created via a process of binding. Brian Forrester, the director of the Paracas History Museum, claims the skull's DNA is categorically not human. Without informing them of their source, he sent 5 samples of the mitochondrial DNA from the skulls to geneticists who returned with some rather shocking and groundbreaking results. It had mitochondrial DNA with mutations unknown in any human, primate, or animal known so far. But a few fragments, one geneticist was able to sequence from this sample indicate that if these mutations will hold, we are dealing with a new human-like creature very distant from Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. One geneticist even went so far as to claim the Paracas skulls are so different from humans they would not be able to interbreed, claiming, quote, "I am not sure it will even fit into the known evolutionary tree," end quote. This has led some to conclude the skulls must belong to aliens who visited Earth long ago, perhaps the very same aliens who gave us the technology to build pyramids and or Atlantis. And this has been your Paranormal Headlines.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a
bear sighting?
Location.
In the forest near the side of the road.
No need for alarm, sir. The forest is where bears live.
But this was no ordinary bear.
No ordinary bear?
Yeah, 1 second I'm having a smoke taken in the view. Next thing I know, I am face to face with Smokey Bear.
Let me guess, Smokey had a tip for you.
He did. He must have seen me toss my cigarette on the ground. He told me never to do that because it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
He's a smart bear. Did you know that 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans? That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
That's what Smokey said. I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous, and you're not.
Good point.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference, because 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
This is Bill Hall, author of the book, The World's Most Haunted House, and you're listening to Paratruth Radio.
All right, folks, welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Justin.
And I'm Eric.
And we have been discussing shadow people. For those of you that are just now tuning in or have no clue, even after us talking about it, what shadow people are well known in the paranormal field to be supernatural or paranormal activity entities that will show up usually in either infrared or what's the other camera that we usually use? Infrared or what's the one that can see in the dark?
Infrared. I mean, other than night vision?
Oh, night vision. That's what I was thinking. Night vision or infrared. Now, as Eric had pointed out, there have been cases where, in Christian viewpoint, all of these entities are demonic in nature. Some, as Eric said, are just figments of our imagination, the light playing tricks on us. The one thing that I would say is if you're doing a paranormal investigation, which I don't encourage unless you are very serious about it and have an idea of what you're getting yourself into, if you're coming across a shadow person, the biggest thing to look for is, does it somehow show some type of intelligence? Is it popping out and popping back in? Is it sitting and standing there right in front of you? Does it move back and forth between your camera, which, again, the back and forth thing could be a trick of light. But like I said at the beginning of the show, there was a case that Ghost Hunters did at, I believe it was the Pennsylvania Penitentiary. I'm pretty sure that's where we were, where they had a shadow person pop out of a doorway and pop back in. Yes, that could have been a person doing that, but when they tried to recreate it, you can physically see the person with the infrared camera, and it's not like a black blob. It's you can see the person's facial features and everything else. So, in my opinion, if it's showing some type of intelligence, then obviously it's something more than just a mere shadow or trick of light. Some other theories, which are here on Wikipedia, but I came across an article, another one from Movie Pilot, which I was going to do as a paranormal headline, but it's kind of noteworthy for the show. See, some of the theories are that shadow people are either evil, helpful, or neutral. Some speculate that shadow people may be extra-dimensional inhabitants of another universe, which kind of crossed my mind when I was thinking about the show today. And I mean, from a Christian standpoint, technically, demons are an extra-dimensional being. They don't live on our plane. They live outside of our plane of existence, and that's what I'm thinking. You guys are in that same form, right?
Yeah,
the demons live outside of us.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the majority is.
So, but let's say, just from a speculative standpoint, like if it's showing intelligence, maybe it is some other type of being or quote unquote person that can come into our dimension, not necessarily a ghost, but say someone from an alternate universe can hop through the universes and pop into ours, but to us they look like blobs compared to humans. I'm sure there would be some that would speculate that maybe these images or these beings that are being caught on camera as shadow people are actually extraterrestrials that have some type of cloaking device on. And the only way that you're seeing them is through an infrared. And this is going to be completely in left field, and I still am not even showing an inkling of interest in what this theory is. But there are some theorists out there that have been trying to disprove or to prove that we live in the Matrix or a simulation type world. Even before the movie The Matrix came out, apparently Plato, Rene Descartes, a couple of theorists were trying to prove or disprove that we're living in some type of simulation world. And it goes to cosmic radiation. Cosmic radiation is basically just a theory because we cannot measure cosmic radiation. It's just a formula that we've put together to say this is what this stuff does. So if an equation can simulate cosmic radiation or cosmic rays, who's to say that the rest of the universe isn't just a big simulation or theoretical calculation? In that being said, applying to shadow people, what if shadow people are a quote-unquote glitch in the Matrix? Something is happening in the reality that we know that changes our perception of it, so then we start seeing things that are either really there but have changed form because their molecular structure or what we would perceive as their molecular structure has changed, or something else coming into the quote-unquote Matrix. And I know you've seen the movie. I know it's way to left field. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree. It is way in left field.
And like I said, I'm not like a huge believer in it, but in a sense, like if you think of God and you think of the devil and then you think of us, I mean, really, this is a simulation. God is trying to teach us lessons, so we are sent here to learn those lessons. And he is always testing us, you know.
Right. But I see where you're coming from, and it's definitely an interesting theory. And for those people out there that are really into like theories and whatnot, I'm sure that's something that they would be more than interested in learning and checking out. In regards to the idea of assimilation, it's, in a sense, I mean, what you were saying in regards to like how we are kind of in assimilation if you regard, you know, God and how we're set here as almost a test us and so on and so forth. The only difference with that, like in regards to assimilation, is that the assimilation, of course, is obviously controlled to a standard in which no one gets hurt in the end. It's, you know, it's just there, and then once you learn the lessons, that's it. You're free. Where here on Earth, it's and in regards to the spiritual realm, it's a little more than a simulation, because even though it is, in a sense, controlled to some extent, and we do still have the free will to do what we want, there are consequences to everything. And the tests, if you will, that we face here and our decisions ultimately affect where we spend our eternity. But it's definitely like an interesting theory. Like, I've often thought to myself, what if, one day I woke up and I was like a 1-year-old, 1-year-old in a crib or something.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, and
messed up.
you don't even have to see The Matrix to think that, but at the same time,
right.
You see the movie and you think to yourself, it's not necessarily possible, but it is maybe probable that our brains are nothing more than electrical input and output. So to think that maybe not necessarily hooked into a computer simulation, but the perception of reality is a huge thing that I think about all the time. And to see that theory, and then we're talking about shadow people, which again is just theory. Most paranormal topics are nothing but theory. There is a very few that have any type of evidence, picture, hair, whatever, otherwise. And when I came across that, I thought to myself, God, that kind of applies to what we're talking about today, because if we are in some type of simulation, which I don't believe that at all by any means. I believe that I'm alive. What's happening now is really happening now in our perception.
Right.
But, it's definitely a very interesting theory why people, even before, our time, like it said, Plato was trying to theorize or prove that we might be living in some type of simulation, not a reality as we know it.
Well, the one thing I would have to say, though, like in regards to that, let's say if we were in a simulation of some sort or some kind of virtual reality, and it was all due to some kind of I don't know, whatever you're saying. I don't understand all of it, but like whatever you're saying with the
well, the brain, when I say it's nothing but electrical input and output,
yes.
Yeah, like if we touch something, our brain is receiving electric currents from our hand saying we're touching a table.
Okay.
And the output would be like our voices.
Right. So those are two completely different things in one sense. But then you got to take in the idea of imagery and capturing. Obviously it would be input if we're seeing everything around us. But what about cameras? The technology. How does that capture a reality that isn't really there? It's one thing seeing it through our eyes, to have a completely different device be able to capture that same reality when it itself doesn't have a brain to do so.
And it's just going by what they're going by what The Matrix, the movie, was saying. But look at digital cameras today and look at technology today, like video games. Right. In video games, you can take pictures that aren't really pictures, but you're still taking a quote-unquote picture.
Fair.
Not saying, again, I'm not saying that I buy into the theory, but is it probable? Maybe.
I think I guess it could be probable. I think there's a lot of experiments that would have to go into that, which would help prove or disprove such a thing, which I don't think even today we have the technology to be able to prove such a thing, or disprove for that matter.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I think it is awfully far-fetched in regards to, what we see and what we know, especially when it comes to dreams. It's like, why have dreams? Why a need for sleep?
Right, yeah.
If, so there's certain things that contradict or just don't make sense in regards to that particular theory. Not that it completely crumbles that theory altogether, but it is substantial. I think that opposes the theory itself.
Right, and even in the movie The Matrix, it doesn't go into what dreams are in the quote unquote Matrix, because it doesn't show anybody having dreams. It just shows them falling asleep and then waking back up again.
Right, exactly.
So, all right, I think we'll take our next break. Are you ready for your random fact?
I am ready. Do we have an intro?
We have the intro and outro, yeah. I'll run a quick commercial, and then we'll run the intro, so that'll give you the cue to start.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, folks, you're listening to Paratruth Radio. Again, if you guys have any comments, any theories, ideas on what we've been talking about today, call us 914-205-5558. You can also hop in our chat room if you're listening on a computer and give us your questions that way. If we're not on air, you can hop on Facebook, you can hop on Twitter, give us your questions, give us your topics, give us any type of guest that you would like to have on, and we will do our very best to get it on here. All right, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we will have Eric's random fact of the day.
Ranger Station, Ranger...
That one. There we go. Let's do that one.
Okay, forest animals. Today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Cool. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night.
Perfect. I love my job.
Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now, Eric's random fact of the day.
People often see butterflies as beautiful creatures, but even the most beautiful creature in the world can be the most deadliest. Now, this butterfly isn't necessarily the most deadly, but it is the deadliest butterfly in existence. A butterfly known as the Antimachus swallowtail lives in Uganda, Africa. Its wings are long with brown and orange and black markings. However, what's interesting about this particular butterfly is that it has enough poison in its body to kill 6 large cats.
This was Eric's random fact of the day.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm place on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is David Montaigne, author of End Times in 2019, and you are listening to Paratruth Radio.
All right, folks, welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Justin.
And I'm Eric.
And we've been discussing shadow people. if you guys have any ideas, or if you have any theories on what shadow people are, give us a call. We've got about roughly 15 minutes left. 914-205-5558. You can also put your opinions into our chat room. If you're listening on a computer, you can just scroll to the bottom of your screen, and the chat room should be right there, and we will get them that way. And again, you can post them up on our Facebook or our Twitter pages. You can also get on to paratruthradio.com and put comments in underneath our past shows tab and put them in there as well. All right, well, and just to kind of conclude, we've got roughly 13 minutes now. And I think both of our opinions, it's either some type of supernatural phenomenon, whether you hop on the Christian side and say that it's dark creatures that are demonic in nature that are showing up when people are doing paranormal investigations, or even just in day-to-day life, or on the mainstream side, like I believe there are human spirits that either come back or stay on our plane. I don't think shadow people are human spirits, though. I think that shadow people are either demonic in nature, or they are some type of extra dimensional being that is coming onto our plane somehow. Or it's a trick of the light, which I think, like Eric said, more times than not, that's what it is. We're doing paranormal investigations, and we're looking for something. So if something flickers in the peripheral of our vision, we're going to assume that that's a supernatural being, whether it's a shadow and a trick of the light, or just our imagination playing tricks on us. You know, that's what we're going to see, because that is what we're looking for.
Right.
So,
which is why we try our best to debunk as much as possible.
Right. And I mean, and sometimes it is you're unable to debunk things. Does that mean it's supernatural? Not necessarily. I mean, yes, it can point and veer your mind towards that's what it is, but is that what it really is? Again, not necessarily. It could have just been a trick of the light. Just because you can't reenact it doesn't mean that somehow that light, did something where you saw something, but it wasn't anything there. All right. And I think we did a pretty good job of doing random fact and paranormal headlines live. So
I agree, and I have to say, well, I've done it numerous times already.
Right.
But I have to say that I'm surprised it is that video. Sorry,
you've been home an hour and you've already been drinking? What the hell, man?
No, it's the Matrix thing, man. I had a little glitch. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to say that I'm impressed by myself. That sounds very prideful and not cool, but I am impressed that I myself was able to do it, considering I found that little fact over that first break. Right. I believe I did. And it's a very interesting fact. But on the other hand, I have to say that you did pretty darn good for it being your first, on the fly type of thing. Or live at least.
And the weird thing is I didn't do. I may have done one or during that because I kind of stumbled because I pressed the button to play the intro and outro, or just the intro, sorry, and I messed up and didn't stop it in time. And
which was a nice little pickup that you did there, because you didn't even say the whole word. You did half the word. Try your best to make it sound as legit as possible.
Right. So to both of us, and this one too. Now, with all that being said, I did want to give you a chance to push your short film again. Before he gets going, I did get a chance to actually peruse the script, and you guys are going to be blown away by this film. I was reading the script, and I could see it in my mind's eye, and it hasn't even been filmed yet. So to see the actual thing is going to be amazing. So go ahead with that.
Thank you. Well, going into pretty much kind of the similar stuff we just talked about in regards to shadow people and, I guess, extraterrestrial dimensions and stuff. You know, what is reality? What is fact? What is the truth? And that is a little question that is explored in a very interesting way. With the new movie that I have already written, as you just heard, Justin had read it already. He likes it. That's a good thing because he's very truthful and honest, and he'll really destroy my script if it's not good and he doesn't like it. But that's okay. That's a good thing.
And just to give Bull a little history behind it, Eric has shown me movies that he's done for his schooling that he's been going for the past, or went back to school for this past year. And I was not only very truthful, I was blunt and straight to the point. Yes, this works. No, that didn't work. Geez, that movie sucked. So for me to give him right. So for me to give praise to a script, which I don't even know how to read sometimes, you know, a lot of it was stuff that I didn't know how to read, but to give good praise for a script that I haven't even seen, you know, on screen yet is big for me, especially like even if I read a book, I'll be like, oh my God, that was the most horrible book I've ever read. And even if I didn't understand it all, I'm like, that was like the worst read ever. So anyways, back to the little snippet of yours.
Yeah. So yeah, much like we had just discussed, shadow people, extraterrestrial beings or dimensions. You know, this film really goes into some depth as to what the truth really is. You know, and it's a question that many of us, I think, always ask ourselves. You know, are we alone in the universe? And that's going to be, I believe, answered in pretty good detail in this new film, The Revealed, which is a movie that I had written. It is one that I am producing and directing this fall of 2015, and it will be done and ready. It will be done and ready for viewing in the spring of 2016. It will be going to film festivals, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also want to keep everyone up to date because I need a lot of followers. I want a lot of followers on this. And I want you all to be involved. I want your opinions. I want your thoughts. I want you to be excited and looking forward to this film so that when it comes out, those of you, our para fans, will be one of the first to be able to see this film. And also, I'll be honest, I'm going to need your guys' support. As a producer and a young filmmaker, director, I don't have a lot of money, and eventually I'm going to need something in order to make this film. No, yeah. So I am going to be having an Indiegogo coming up soon.
I was going to ask if you were going to get an Indiegogo started.
Yeah, either an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter started. This film is going to run me at least a couple $1,000s. I'd love to have the support and the help. And there's going to be a list of benefits for different amounts that are given, and all the way up to, like, you know, you can become an executive producer on this film and have your name seen. And that there will be more details on that later on within the next couple of months here. I'll keep everyone up to date. But, yeah, The Revealed is the name of the film. And you can check it out. What I have on Facebook, I want you to go check it out, like it, share it with friends and family. That is at facebook.com/The Revealed Movie. Again, that is facebook.com/The Revealed Movie. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited for it, and I think everyone out there is going to enjoy it, all of you listening in. So, yeah, check it out. Like it. Share it, please.
And I'm excited for it, too. Just like I said, I read the script, and as I'm reading it, I can see it in my mind's eye without even seeing even a commercial for the film. So it's definitely going to be a good one. Just to get on an off topic really fast before we close out, have you seen the YouTube video of a reboot of Power Rangers that Saban tried to ban?
Of course I did.
Well, I hadn't had a chance to watch through it before they banned it and then unbanned it, because legally they didn't have a chance, because not only did fans want it, but they didn't do a Power Rangers as we remember as Power Rangers. If you guys get a chance, check out this short film. I forget the guy's name, but it's Power/Rangers, and it's an amazing remake. And I saw the video that the guy that played the original Green Ranger did, where he was saying, I don't like it because it's not PG, it's not the Power Rangers, because when you think Power Rangers, you think of kids watching this show on TV, which is still running, by the way. An incarnation of it anyways. But you have the adults calling out for a reboot on the Power Rangers. To me, it's an amazing movie, short film, because not only is it something from my childhood, but on a budget that he couldn't have had a huge budget for this, but for what budget he had, he did amazing effects with.
Well, and I agree. It was. I thought it was very well done. The storyline was interesting. I think they needed to add a little bit more to it.
Well, that's what a lot of people on YouTube were saying too. But like at the same time, just like your short film, you only have, like, this guy only did 20 minutes. Your short film will probably only be about 20 minutes. You have 20 minutes to shoot in a story, a plot line, some type of backstory, and then you're done. So for what it was worth, yeah, I think there could have been a lot more, but at the same time, he only had so much time and so much budget to do it.
I agree. And this is the type of short film where it can easily be expanded into a full-length feature film, an hour and a half, 2 hours even. But for those of you who do want to check it out, I just want to warn you, if you have kids and stuff who do like the Power Rangers, keep them away from it. It's a very gritty and graphic short film. There's a lot of blood, there are some sexual things in there, so you want to be very careful. As a filmmaker, I would say check it out. It's pretty interesting. As a Christian, I would say be very careful. It's true.
All right, folks.
Not just as a Christian, but as morally.
Right, yeah. All right, folks. We will see you guys next week with our thank you episode, where we will be thanking our Indiegogo contributors as well as you as our fans. So on that note, my name is Justin.
And I'm Eric.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
Peace.